Now, new polling from Pew finds that there is a larger gap between gender for each candidate in support. So 51% of male registered voters are supporting Trump and 43% supporting Harris. More specifically, 20% of black men support Trump compared to just 8% of black women. And as each candidate pulls out all the stops to get support, recently, former President Barack Obama hit the trail for Harris, directly reaching out to black men. Listen to this.
You have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out, and you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that.
All right, so I want to bring in journalist Roland Martin, host of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland, thank you so much for coming on with me today to talk about this. Sure. First, I want to ask you, what do you think about former President Obama's approach? Because, you know, you've got people on both sides. Some say that they're glad he's saying the quiet part out loud, that, you know, if you're, for many people, he says, basically, if you're not going, is it misogyny? But there are other people who say that, you know, that tone isn't what's going to help get that support of black men.
Wrong approach, wrong tone, wrong message. This is the reality of the data. In 2008, Obama got 95% of black male vote. Republicans got 5%. In 2012, Obama got 87. The GOP got 11. That was 2 men. Now, the number goes up in 2016, where 13 points go to the Republican. And then, of course, then you go to 2020, it's around 18. Now, here's the problem here. Obama lost 6 points. And so it's not misogyny if you had 2 men who are running. So what's going on here? And that is you have the Democrats, many of these Democratic white strategists have not crafted a black male specific strategy. What I mean by that is, since the civil rights movement, African Americans less self-identify as Democrats. So the younger you go, so 55 plus, more self-identified. The younger you go, less self-identified, which means Democrats have to work harder, spend more resources, communicate with voters today, because they're also choosing the couch. Now, Janae, here's the other thing. A lot of these polls you're seeing grossly underrepresenting African Americans. I've had on my show 8 to 10 black only polling from Black Voter Project, from Black PAC, Higher Heights, and other groups. And in none of these polls are you seeing 20%. So I don't think he gets 20%, but it is an issue that Democrats should be addressing. The problem is they're not, because they're trying to still do the, broad, throw it all out there, reach everybody the same way. And you can't do that with black voters in 2020.
To that point, this is something that the vice president has spoken about and says that she believes that, for any group, that their vote needs to be worked for. They need to be spoken to. But what do you make of the increased support that there appears to be by young black men for Donald Trump? Well, the former Obamas of the world are saying, that there is a history of racism there.
Right. But again, though, you also have to look at, in many of these polls, when you go underneath them, Chris Toller of the Black Voter Project does an excellent job breaking this down. Many of these are folks who are being polled who haven't even voted in 2 or 3 elections. And so there's a difference between registered voters, likely voters, and non-voters. And so that's also skewing a lot of the data. But let's say they actually do vote. Many of them are also voting based upon economic issues. That's one of the issues. You do have among, again, men, this is a male trait, whether you're white, male, Hispanic, Asian, of you want a strong person, a strong leader. Do you have misogyny as part of this? Absolutely. But to put it solely on misogyny is wrong when the numbers increase when 2 men ran. And so Democrats have got to do a much better job of messaging. What Obama should be talking about, and other men should be talking about, other black men, what Biden-Harris has done specific to African-American men when it comes to economics, when it comes to health, when it comes to the environment, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to fighting white supremacy, criminal justice reform. Talk about what you've done as opposed to chastising what someone should or should not be doing. Speak to their issues. That's how you reach them.
So to that point, then, what do you think that former President Trump needs to do to reach out and get the support of black male voters?
But first of all, he doesn't give a damn about that. So one of the things you are going, I mean, he just doesn't. He's appealing to white voters. Republicans have always, in the last 4 or 5 cycles, want to just peel off a certain number. And so you're going to have Trump puts rappers out there. You're going to see him, trying to tout what he did with the First Step Act, but that was also passed by Democrats in the House and strictly by Democrats in the Senate. So you're going to see that as well. But Trump's strategy is not to appeal to black men or to black women. It's not. It is to appeal to his base, which is white voters. And so that's really what that is.
So the Harris campaign is launching a Souls to the Polls effort to turn out black churchgoers in key states. Even today, she's meeting with some black faith leaders in North Carolina. But evangelicals are pushing for Trump to be elected for his views on abortion, LGBTQ rights. How much of an impact do you think religion is going to have on who people are voting for?
Well, I think also we got to parse the data. White conservative evangelicals are pushing for Trump. Most of your black evangelicals are supporting Harris. And so that is an issue. And she's making light of, again, him being a liar, a narcissist, and also his own personal failings. She's making character and issues. And so I'll be sitting down and talk with her tomorrow. I'm headed to North Carolina today. The interview will air on Monday. We'll be talking about a lot of these issues. But again, what she is doing is trying to focus on issues. And so at the end of the day, if you're a surrogate for her, focus on that. Not talking down to anybody. Focus on issues.